welcome to Dead by Daylight in 2025. We are continuing our journey, not forward, not upward, but more like sideways into a ditch. And I don't want to waste your time, so let's jump straight into what I'm talking about. We've got cheats returning from 2022. Not new cheats, not evolved cheats with new technology, just the old ones back from the grave. It's like someone went into the basement of code, found a bunch of issues they buried 3 years ago, blew off the dust and said, hey, what if we just turned these back on? And you might pause here for a second and say, Choi, hold on a second. You sound a little bit different. What's going on? Have you been drinking? Yes. Is that a good enough answer? Let's continue. If you remember earlier this year, oh, they were proud of themselves, right? BHVR did a little bit of I think it was a Comic-Con panel. They were up there doing their little hints for their next DLC, you know, it was real cute and here and there. And they talked about how they were going to have a new anti-cheat coming out this year. Nice, new anti-cheat. Everybody applauded, they glazed. The day that got announced, the day that got announced, the cheater insiders that I know had already messaged me, not only that they know what that's going to be, but also that they have already figured out how to counter it. And in a way, it even pushed them to innovate in ways to create new cheats they never even thought was possible. And they still haven't had to release those yet because that update, it went into thin air. They were too busy worried about tunneling and slugging to do the anti-cheat update.
We wanted to give survivors a big update. We always update killers. We don't do a lot for survivors. We're going to change that.
So the first thing that you can see on the screen, all the measures that we want to take in order to improve camping, slugging, tunneling, we will actually give you more details in the coming weeks and in the coming months. We want to do it right. It's something that we want to carefully craft, and we want to also discuss more with our community and our content creators to make sure, again, we do it right.
So it never even came to conclusion, but that's still something that's going to happen off in the future, which means 2026 probably going to be an absolute catastrophe. 2025 is really just going to be the appetizer for what's to come in terms of cheating. But let's move on. If you get on Twitch right now, you can watch hackers with their killer AI bots back in action. You remember those killer AI bots that just wiped the team in seconds, killing you over and over and over and over again? Well, what happened, of course, as the anti-cheat got updated, these players would get automatically banned because the anti-cheat would see that, hey, this is bullshit, let's ban these guys. But because this update that BHVR has just done reverted everything back to the anti-cheat of 2022, because of that, these cheaters do not trigger automatic bans right now, which means that it requires a real life person to trigger these bans, a real life employee. Maybe Chandler Riggs in the basement chained up can ban a few people here and there, but for the most part, if they're not already on holiday break, are going to go on holiday break very soon. And that's very concerning because if they leave the game in this state over the holiday break, it's just going to be absolutely filled with cheaters. It's going to be a disaster. And you might say, well, it's not that big of a deal because you can just DC from these matches, right? You don't really see DC penalties that much anymore, right? So just DC if you go up against a cheater. Well, there's something about that some of you may not realize because maybe you don't DC very often. So let's talk about how the DC penalty works in the game right now. Before, you would get a 5-minute penalty, a 10-minute penalty, a 15-minute penalty. You could say, okay, that's enough for me. I've DC'd too much. I'm gonna go play another game and I'll come back later. But now you don't see that. You don't see the 5-minute ban. You don't see the 10-minute ban. You don't see the 15-minute ban. It's all happening in the background. It's tracking you, letting you play match after match after match, even while you're DCing. But the system is secretly ramping up behind the scenes. So suddenly, bam, you're hit with a 30-minute or an hour ban out of nowhere. And you might say, okay, that sucks. I'll just go play another game for an hour. Well, you better make sure to start that timer before you leave, because if you don't, if you just immediately leave the game after DCing, you could come back a week, 2 weeks later, get on the game, hit play, boom, instant 2-hour DC penalty, because that DC penalty does not lock in until you try to queue the next time, which is just weird and doesn't make any sense. But come on, let's be honest, what fucking makes sense in this game at this point anymore anyway? In fact, as you're watching this video, I doubt you have very much shock at all. Nothing here is really gonna surprise you. The game is currently so pathetic that it doesn't even feel like we're at rock bottom anymore. It feels like we live at rock bottom. And of course, after this short and spicy video, you might say, Choi, well, why are you revealing all of this publicly when you could just privately, behind the scenes, report it to Behavior? Now, the answer to that is actually kind of simple. Not only would Behavior obviously not listen to anything I have to say, I mean, let's be honest, they didn't even listen to Chandler Riggs when he was in their studio. No, Chandler, that's not what this is.
Yeah. Ots was saying that, like, if we fill up the lobby completely with spectators, but is that not going to work?
No, not for what this is.
Okay.
Business.
Gotcha.
You have only yourself to blame, Chandler.
So of course, there's a 0% chance they're gonna listen to me. So why don't you just honestly just shut your mouth, huh? The other reason, and this is a very valid reason, whether you agree or not, they didn't give me, Choi, a creator code. The audacity to not give me a creator code after all I've done for the game.
If you're a content creator in the audience, we also have some quality of life for you. We are overhauling the Dead by Daylight creator program completely. And that's going to include what's called a support a creator system, which maybe you know from other video games. It allows you to support your favorite creator. The idea is that be a wide way for pretty much any deserving creator to be able to work with us, get stuff from us, and get rewarded. So stay tuned. We're going to talk a lot more about that in our next broadcast later.
Wait. Hold up, Choi. Are you implying that you could be paid to look the other way? No, that's not what I'm implying, guys. What I'm telling you directly, absolutely no shame, zero integrity. I could take a paycheck to look the other way. From zero integrity. We're honest here on this channel, okay? And speaking of Chandler Riggs, did you guys ever wonder why that was happening in the first place? How a cheater was constantly getting into their lobby over and over and over again, to the point where they literally could not play a custom match because a cheater kept breaking his way into the lobby? I won't bore you with the details, but there's another exploit that makes that possible. And even some of the content creators involved in that situation, like Otsdarva, knew solutions to bypass, get around it, but Behavior, of course, wouldn't listen. So again, why the hell would they listen to me? But that's it for today. If you want more coverage on the chaos, or just want to leave your stories down in the comments about what kind of cheating situations you've been dealing with lately, and we've been dealing with a lot of cheating assholes recently on Dead by Daylight, haven't we? So go ahead, leave your stories below during your DC penalty after rage quitting because you got killed by a Terminator bot or whatever it might be. And as always, much appreciated for watching, and have a good one.